at this, bro. God damn. Yeah, it's very good looks, bro. Yeah. Nice taper, okay.
All right, let's get into this video, guys. We're gonna be doing a taper and I'm gonna show you how to do it. And you already know this is about to be a fire cut. You heard my client's reaction. He's got the confidence back in him and he's looking good. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay down the hairs. I'm gonna comb it out and lay it down and then use a number 1 guard or a number 1.5 guard to get those hairs. And then after that, I'm gonna create my guideline at the bottom, and I don't want to take the bald line up too high, so I started with my lever open. And once I'm done with that, I'm going to be using my number 1 guard, and I'm going to start with that lever all the way open. I'm going to close it halfway, and then I'm going to go down to where it's fully closed. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to follow it up with my half guard or my 0.5 guard, depending on what guards you're using. So I'm going to get it down to a length where I feel like I can get it with my half guard. And once I get to that point, that's when I switch. And that's where we're at now. So now I'm going to be using my half guard, and I'm always starting with my lever open. This way I don't take off too much and I don't create another line, because I don't want to have to create another guideline if I don't have to. So same steps, lever all the way open, halfway, and then fully closed. And then we're going to move on to the next step. In this step right here, guys, this is where it's going to tie all that work we just put in into the cut. So the bottom, we got that bald line, we want to take it out. So I'm going to be using lever play, starting with my lever all the way open. And by lever play, all that means is I'm going to be jumping back and forth between closed, fully closed, halfway, all the way open, quarter of the way closed, because I'm going to be detailing and I'm going to be taking out that bottom line all in the same time. So that's just what we mean by lever play. You just bounce around from it being in different positions. And now all I'm doing is laying down the hairs, combing them down. It's just so that they can get ready for the lineup. But before I do that, I'm gonna bounce over to the other side. And I actually forgot to record me doing my first guideline after I lay the hair down, but I'd already went in with my lever open and created that initial guideline. After that, I'm going to be using my number 1 guard all the way open, halfway, and then fully closed. And once I do that, I'm going to follow right up with my half guard. And essentially all this is doing is it's lightening up that space in between no guard, lever all the way open, and your 1 guard fully closed. It's a half guard. They're super important to have because they're those transitional guards where if you keep flicking out and you can't get it, it's going to be the perfect guard to get it in. It's an in-between guard. So you got your 0.5 or your half guard, and you've also got your number 1.5, and those are your transitional guards, and that's what you're going to be using if you are having difficulty getting a line out. Now that I'm done with the other side of the head, I'm going to be moving towards the back of the head. First thing I'm going to do is lay down the hairs. I'm going to set in my guideline with my trimmer. And then I'm going to be using my lever open to create that bottom guideline, which is what I'm going to be blending last. And I'm following the same steps that I did throughout the entirety of the haircut, starting with my number 1 guard, and then I'm going to go all the way open, halfway closed, and then fully closed. And now we're on to that half guard, guys. So this is essentially, like I said, it's just going to soften up that line underneath the number 1 guard, and it just allows for a smoother transition and a smoother blend at the bottom of the haircut. Because our goal is to get it nice and buttery. We don't want to have no hard lines. We don't want to have too many dark spots. We want that smooth transition from skin all the way up into the bulk of the cut. Now I got no guard on, and I'm just doing lever play to eliminate that last dark line that we set in with our trimmers. And my tools are gapped to where each tool goes into the other. So my foil shavers will go straight into my trimmers, and my trimmers will go straight into my no guard lever all the way closed. And you guys should be setting your tools so that everything flows together. Now we're about to get a crispy lineup. Pulling the ear down so I can get behind the ear, starting at the bottom, and I'm working my way up. And my trimmers are gapped, not completely, because I don't want to cut the client. The last thing you want to do is have your trimmers set so gapped that they're irritating the client or they're cutting the client if you are putting that on their skin. It's called zero gapping, but you want to do it to where there's just a very, very tiny amount of gap, almost to where it's meeting, but you don't want to do it to where it's meeting, because then you'll be cutting people all the time. And I know, because when I very first started out cutting hair, I'd always leave marks. And you don't want to leave red marks on a client's face or their neck or anywhere. So now we're done with that lineup and we got them fresh. We're going to be blending the beard out. We're going to be setting in that bottom line right now with the beard. And then we're going to be hitting them with that lineup. So you could see, man, these trimmers that I got, they're hitting. And I got them set properly, and even in the sensitive areas like right there, the client isn't flinching, it doesn't hurt the client, and it's not leaving any kind of red marks or any irritation marks. It's gapped right where I want it. Now we're hitting that C cup, and we're leaving everything more natural on this haircut. We're not doing any enhancements. So it's really important that you don't push your client back, and it may not even look like you're really leaving too distinct of a line, but that line will be there, and when you go to hit it with the straight razor, it's going to stick out a lot more. Now I'm working on the other side of the head, same thing, hitting up that bottom neck. Now we're doing that lineup like on that back part of the beard, trying to make it vertical. And as you can see, man, the trimmers are doing their work. I don't even got to push hard. And this right here, you can see, you know, that line's coming out. Trying to keep it as full as possible, as natural as possible, and trying to keep that line as high as possible so that we get that nice dark lineup. And we wanna make it look natural. Don't want to push them back. And that's the number one goal when you're doing a lineup. You don't want to push them back. But sometimes you got to, and sometimes the client wants you to push them back. There's nothing you can do about that. So sometimes you just got to do it. Now we're hitting his mustache. I'm starting from the bottom, working my way towards the center, and I just got the hairs right above his lip. So once I'm done with that, I'm going straight into the lineup, and as you can see, we're stretching the skin out. And you know, even though it may not look like there was a line there originally, once you hit it with that straight razor, it's gonna instantly pop. And you could see we're keeping the beard line as high as possible, keeping it natural. So it's not going to have the darkest look to it, but it's going to have that natural, clean lineup look to it. As you can see, same thing, stretching the skin, starting from the bottom of that C cup and working towards the corner of the lip. And I always go over my line 2 or 3 times just to make sure that after I brush it, I'm getting all the hairs, and you want it to look as crispy as possible. And now for the lineup, I'm going to be using some holding spray, and I immediately follow up with my brush and a blow dryer to lay the hairs down and dry and cool off the hair. So I'm laying the hairs down, and I use a number 1 guard, fully closed, to get the loose hairs. And I'm starting in the center of the lineup, working my way all the way to each corner. And once I do that, I go back over the line to make sure that everything's even, and I'll stand in front of the client a few times just to make sure that I'm giving them the best symmetrical shape as possible, because the last thing you want to do is have a crooked lineup and the client will not be happy. Once we get this lineup done, I'm going to be hitting my client with a pencil. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because I want that line to be a little bit softer, and I want those natural lines to pop out a little bit more. So if you don't ever want to do enhancements and you want to enhance the line a little bit without doing anything to the actual hair or the line up, just add a pencil on there, wipe it off, give it that natural chalk line without it being too chalky, and you'll be set. But check this reaction now.
Yeah, he killed this bro. Goddamn.
Feeling it?
Yeah, it's very good look, bro. Yeah. Nice taper. Okay.
As you can see, the client is super happy. He's super confident. He's got the look that he wanted, and we accomplished that without using any enhancements. So if you guys like the taper, like it, comment, share it, give me your thoughts. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching this full video, and make sure to like, comment, and share, guys. Peace out.